Bill Clinton is like, I never saw anything. I don't know anything about Epstein. I don't know why I'm being asked about Epstein. You know a little more than most, right? That's what it looks like. I'm Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz today. The radio show is about to join us. Let's begin, shall we? Yeah, let's. So Bill Clinton knows nothing. Bill Clinton saw nothing. It doesn't explain why Jeffrey Epstein had a painting of Bill Clinton in a blue dress in his house. I mean, the idea that he knows nothing, saw nothing, never heard anything, never heard of anybody who ever heard anything. I don't. It's harder to believe with Bill. With Hillary, I think that she's a pretty awful person. I mean, when it comes to Hillary Clinton, anybody who would say
there are concerns about it because they worry about the impact on existing institutions like the family, community, and others. So this really, yes, migration has been a huge flashpoint. More people were deported under my husband and Barack Obama without killing American citizens and without putting children into detention camps than were in the first Trump term or this first year of Trump's second term. So I think it's important to look at the facts because very often the ideological impulse to try to protect the status quo or return making America great again in some nostalgic past that existed for white men and capitalist enterprise was not exactly open and welcoming to people who look like me and a lot of other people.
Yeah, don't ask me to sit here and think well of people who go after capitalism. If it wasn't for capitalism, how could so many people have donated to your bullcrap organizations, Hillary? I mean, where would they have gotten the money to create your lifestyle? Where else could they have gotten the dollars to try and buy access to you and your husband, who was involved in extrasexual activities while he should have been running the country? I mean, I didn't vote for him to get his freak on. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. Understand, I have no issue with anything Bill Clinton did outside of his marriage. I'm not involved in his marriage. That's between him and Hillary. I have an issue with him doing it while on the clock. You don't get to have a good time while you're on my time. You work while you're on my time. You want to have a good time, get off the clock and go do anything you want to do. Ain't my problem. Not my pig, not my farm. There are a lot of reasons not to like Hillary Clinton. Do I think Hillary Clinton was involved in the sexual exploits of children? As I've said, no, I don't. Hillary Clinton was there giving the deposition yesterday, closed door in front of Comer and the Oversight Committee, and she was not happy about it. I don't know what I'm supposed to take from that. And I also don't know if I would ever believe Hillary Clinton. Why would I ever possibly believe Hillary Clinton? Do I think for a second that she's got it summed up properly? No. That's not what I do with her. She did say that she would have much rather to have had this happen in public.
Secretary, do you believe this was a fair hearing? And do you still want to testify publicly, even though you gave this deposition?
Well, I'm not going to do it again. They had a chance to do it in public, and I wish they had done it in public. And I think they're making the wrong decision, avoiding doing it in public. I thought it was very repetitive. I thought that they asked literally the same questions over and over again, which didn't seem to me to be very productive. And then, as I said, toward the end, there were other questions that were totally off subject. So if they are going to fulfill their responsibilities to literally investigate the investigations, which is what they originally said was the scope of their work, I think they could have spent the day more productively.
You forget that she is very, very good, very skilled at the turnaround. I will also state that it seems that every time that Hillary is involved in something, every single time, the political right screws it up. They like screw up the ability to have the conversation, to handle it properly. Do I think Hillary should have been deposed? Absolutely. Who is Hillary to somehow think that this is beneath her, or it doesn't matter? I mean, after all, it was Hillary who had Ghislaine Maxwell at her daughter's wedding. You know that, right? Ghislaine Maxwell was at Chelsea Clinton's wedding, and here's how she answered that question.
James Matthews from Sky News. Can I ask, why was Ghislaine Maxwell invited to her daughter Chelsea Clinton's wedding in 2010? She'd already been mentioned in a civil lawsuit by Virginia Giuffre before that. Jeffrey Epstein had already been convicted before that.
She came as the +1, the guest of someone who was invited.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you all.
And she got off the stage as fast as she could. You let someone like that at your daughter's wedding because she was a guest, she was a +1. See, just as you think Hillary's like, well, she had this angle covered, she had that angle covered, she had the other angle covered. She was a +1, and you let her come to the wedding? Are you insane? You let that woman show up at your daughter's wedding. You didn't look at the person and say, get that woman out of here. You wouldn't say that? Oh, I would have said that in a second. There were 1 or 2 people who weren't invited to my wedding, and they were upset by it, but we knew that they would be a problem, and we didn't invite problems to the wedding. I only had to turn to my father, who was, rest his soul, it wasn't an easy relationship, and say to him, hey, some people are ridiculous. It's possible 1 or 2 people who were told they couldn't come to the wedding might think that they can show up because they think they're in charge. You know what to do. And he's like, I got it. There was not even a wink. There was just you got it. You know what to do. Of course. By the way, that did happen. And no one showed up. Just some people who were upset that they did not get the invite. Hey, it was a small wedding. Paid for it ourselves. And if you were going to be somebody who had questions about whether or not we were making the right decision, we didn't need you there. We knew we were making the right decision. And a lot of years later, we're still here. You let Ghislaine Maxwell show up at your wedding. So that's the moment where she kind of falls apart. That for all the strength in her answers, and I would say to you, she handles these things very, very well. She is bulletproof in that way. She didn't handle it perfectly. Not in the slightest. Do I think she was involved with children? No. Do I think she saw things? It's very possible. Do I think Bill Clinton saw things? 10,000% I do. And I think you do too. Does that mean he did something wrong? I would have no way to prove that. But Bill Clinton telling the committee, I saw nothing and I did nothing wrong. Sure, I'm not buying this. I buy it with Hillary, not buying it with Bill. You were on the plane. We get to ask questions. Were you on the island? We get to ask a lot of questions. There are pictures of you. There are pictures of you, Epstein, girls. There are questions that are allowed to be asked. And Bill Clinton puts out some prepared testimony, and the prepared testimony said, before we start, I have to get personal. You made Hillary come in. She had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Nothing. She has no memory of even meeting him. She neither traveled with him nor visited any of his properties. Whether you subpoenaed 10 people or 10,000, including her, was simply not right. With all due respect, Mr. President, this idea that you get to be all chivalrous and defending your wife, that dog won't hunt. There are many of us who defend our wives. I don't know if when you do it, it has the same effect. What did Bill Clinton know and when did he know it is a good question. In all of these things, who abused these young women and how do we put them behind bars? Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, rich, poor. I don't care, and you shouldn't either. Are we going to learn anything from their depositions? I don't know. Does their deposition then help in increasing the opportunities to bring charges against someone else? I don't know. Was it right to subpoena both of them? Absolutely. Was it right to force them to give the testimony? Absolutely. Now, Democrats are cheering all this on because they think that this is a moment of gotcha. This is a moment of, aha, now we can do the same thing to Trump.
I'm Ro Khanna from California. I want to echo what all of my colleagues said. A new precedent has been set in America today. Before this, we had the Trump rule. Trump defied, as all of you know, a congressional subpoena with the January 6th committee. He said presidents don't have to testify. Now we have the Clinton rule, which is that presidents and their families have to testify when Congress issues a subpoena.
So what you care about is going after Trump, not finding who was abusing children. Ro Khanna has really gone down an ugly road. A guy who you used to have some respect for. At least he believed in free speech. He believed there should be an open exchange. No. You don't care that children were violated. You don't care. This is all about how do we get Trump. And I think this has to be, how do we find who abused children? You want to depose Howard Lutnick? Go right ahead. The guy admits, the Commerce Secretary admits to being on the island, stopping by when he said he had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein, having lunch there with his family. Not only whoever was with Epstein, but Howard Lutnick's family, they were on a boat. Remember, these people have a tremendous amount of money. And we're not surprised that they all knew each other. We're not surprised by this at all. Go ahead, depose him. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Knock yourself out. You think I'm bothered by this? If they're listed, go ahead and depose them. Go right ahead. But if you think you've got the story on Trump, let us all be perfectly clear. Everything said about Trump has already been discredited regarding Epstein. except for his own words where he was saying, I heard Epstein was a freak and I threw him out of Mar-a-Lago and I thought Ghislaine Maxwell was evil and I told the West Palm Beach authorities this and I told these people that. He's the only guy so far who seems to have said out loud, that guy's no good, get rid of him. Get him away from me. Can't get out of there fast enough. And all of these arguments of the allegations of Trump and a 14-year-old from a source that is known to be uncredible and no corroborating evidence whatsoever. But don't worry, the left is going to keep saying that he's a pedophile. They're going to ignore people who have been involved in flagrante delicto like Bill Clinton. And Ro Khanna is only happy that he can now go after Trump. Fantastic. Everything is just going great. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Shoot. Sorry, guys. The microphone was down. Got it. Trump is not exonerated because he says so. The claim made against him has no corroboration whatsoever. The person who made the claim is known to be a liar. So the claim is completely and totally bunk. It's gone. It's nonsense. You can prove to me that Trump abused young girls. I'll be there to help you arrest him. Same with Bill Clinton, same with Bill Gates, same with anybody else. That's the difference between us, Patrick. I want the people involved in abusing children arrested. You want Trump and don't care about the rest. That's messed up. But the specific, very, very gross. The sound's on right now. What is everyone talking about? Can you hear me there, Landon? All right, just making sure. Everyone's freaking me out for a second. Maybe they're just delayed. Maybe that's just it. So my mistake. That's the argument. We're after two different things. You want Trump, and I want the people responsible, even if it includes Trump. That's the difference. And with all due respect, your position is a garbage position. If you don't want all the people involved in abusing children to be brought to justice, what good are you? What is your day like? Like, what is your life like? If you don't want that, I'm sorry. You don't have anything else to say. You don't have anything you can contribute to a conversation if you don't want everybody involved to have to face justice. I am saying that this specific allegation is bunk because the person who brought the allegation is known to be a liar, and there's not a single bit of corroborating evidence to it. Zero. Plain and simple. If that upsets you, you're more interested in going after Trump than you are protecting children, and I swear I've got no part of you. I have no place for you in my life. None. Let's get back to the show. So let's talk Cuba, where you had 10 people aboard a speedboat registered in the United States. Shot at off the coast of Cuba. 4 people were killed. The other 6 on the boat injured. And what the Cubans said was that these people were coming to engage in terrorism in Cuba. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. And what Secretary of State Marco Rubio said was, yeah, I'm not going to believe anything that the Cubans have to tell me. I'm not going to buy into that at all, whatsoever. He's right to not believe the Cubans. How in the world does this happen? And now you learn that there were 2 Americans who were shot. One was killed, a guy out of Tampa. The guy out of Tampa is a Cuban national who has become an American citizen. And as now has been reported in multiple outlets, this guy's brother told the Associated Press that his brother had been in an obsessive and diabolical quest to free Cuba from its communist government. And it is possible that these people got on a boat and headed to Cuba to try and kill Cuban leadership. This story is insane. This story is certifiable. Now, I want to say for the record, I'll wait for more data. I'll wait for an investigation. I'll wait for statements from the Secretary of State. But you hear that the Cubans say this, and you're like, yeah, first rule, never believe a communist. First rule is never believe a communist. The second rule is never go in against a Sicilian when death is on the line. That's the second rule. Never trust a communist. Never go in against a Sicilian when death is on the line. Those are the first 2. We'll get to other rules. And then you don't believe them, and then you have the brother like, yeah, the guy was, my brother was insane, and he thought he could topple the Cuban government and wanted to. Story's crazy. Certifiable story. I want the Cuban government gone, and I want the Cubans to be free, and I want the people who had to leave Cuba. And this is where it's going to get. You want to talk about where the real fight's going to be? When someday, hopefully soon and speedily and in our lifetime, the communist Cuban government falls, there are going to be a lot of people who want to return to Cuba, family members, extended family members of those who left, who fled. And they're going to claim this is our land. That fight is going to be the fight of fights. Who gets the property? Because with all due respect, it's Cuba. It has the opportunity for the most gorgeous beaches and incredible waters. You know how many hotel groups are going to want the beachfront property? It's going to be an insane fight, tracing back lineage and whose property belongs to whom. This is Tony Katz today. It's going to be incredible how that works. That is going to be the real fight. Let me see if he's available. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, guys. Just got to respond to 3 things. Okay, answer the questions. By the way, Jack, yes, Cuba would be unbelievable. The opportunities for Cuba, post-communist, beyond belief. Beyond belief. But there are going to be real fights about who owns what. Real fights on the subject. Meanwhile, I'm in Indianapolis, and of course, I've got the big event tomorrow. Trump, 1 year and 1 month later. Oh, this thing is looking so amazing. It's tomorrow, just one more day. The bourbon, the food, everybody gets a cigar, although I don't think we're doing a big cigar smoke afterwards because it's probably going to be too cold. It's going to be spectacular. Spectacular. And tickets.tonykatz.com. The last minute ticket buying, which I'm hearing is happening more and more with events. The last minute ticket buying is nuts. Crazy cool. So I'm looking forward to it. If you haven't got your tickets yet, tickets.tonykatz.com, you can actually get them right now. Go to it. Go do it. Go to it. It's going to be so awesome. We're going to go over the last year. We're going to talk about the midterms. We're going to talk about the flubs. We're going to talk about the opportunities. State of the Union, where Trump stole my lines. Hold on a second. This just in. Trump sucks, says El Malo 83. In response, so does your mom. Yeah, there it is. We do try to get a good mom joke in at least once a show. There it is. Thank you, El Malo, for being a part of the game that we play. Oh my gosh, you just got deleted. I am not going to tell you how many tickets have sold, Ken, thus far. But if you say to me, hey, Tony, we're going to see 200 people at this thing, I'll say to you, yeah, why? Yeah, just leave it like that. Just leave it like that. What's interesting about this event, compared to my other events, is that the other events sold faster. And so we were trying to figure out what it is. Like, was it topic? I don't think so. Here's what we came to. Downtown Indianapolis. People have an issue with coming to downtown Indianapolis. I did it as a red tie gala, big red tie event, to dress up. I think people like a little more casual. And this was because it's in a ballroom, everything else, a little more expensive of events. So all three of those things put together, it didn't sell as fast. It's fascinating to learn. So the next one, I'm going to prove that point. But people do like get-togethers. They do like parties, which me too. Absolutely me too. Let's go. The moves that we're hearing about would make one think that we're closer to some level of conflict with Iran. My sources say this isn't there yet. But you had Mike Huckabee make the announcement that they are evacuating the embassy in Jerusalem. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. My sources are like, when you start evacuating things in Baghdad, let me know. I'm like, I'm not sure I even know how to take that. The argument is that no one's ready yet. They're still working this idea of some level of diplomacy. I'm telling you, I do not know what the diplomacy is for. I am not making the statement that there has to be a fight. I'm looking for a fight. I want to fight. I am not making that statement at all. I'm making the statement that if we're going to engage diplomacy to have Iran end its nuclear capabilities, which I thought we ended, that would mean that the Ayatollah is staying. And I keep bringing this up to people. How does it not mean that he's staying? And how is that in any way, shape, or form something that we should be in favor of, considering what it is that the president said to the people when he said help is on its way? Help is on its way about what? And if it's not freeing these people, I don't know what we're talking about. The chat room wants regime change. Wait a second, so do I. I am saying that negotiation doesn't lend itself to the concept of regime change unless the negotiation they claim is about nuclear X, Y, and Z, and it's really a negotiation about where he's going to go, where he's going to live, what kind of medical care he's going to get, etc. Are they negotiating his exit package, if you will, which I would be wholly in favor of? I would be fine with it, except it doesn't get talked about in that way. It doesn't. And so I'm not sure where we are. You know, I had Ed Marcy on the show yesterday, and he was under the opinion that we would see some movement regarding Iran this weekend. Yet I have the story here from military.com that Rubio is going to visit Israel next week. Rubio is not going to visit Israel if he thinks the United States is going to hit Iran. That's not happening. Hold on. Did I say anything that you don't already believe? It's you and me on a bar stool. They're going to send the Secretary of State to Israel when they know Israel is going to take a couple hundred, if not a couple of thousand drones and missile hits if the United States hits Iran. They're going to try and unload every missile they have into Israel before their missile launchers get found and destroyed. And you send the Secretary of State? Yeah, I don't buy that one either. So maybe there is a bit of a pause going on here. Now, this is actually taking a bit of a half a back seat. Have you been following what's going on with Pakistan and Afghanistan? I did not know that there was a strike that took place like 5 days ago where the Pakistanis claim that the Afghans, and really the Taliban, struck Pakistan. And then Pakistan struck back and 18 people were killed. Now you've got Pakistan, which has, I believe we will call it capabilities. And you have Afghanistan, the Taliban, which has all the hardware Joe Biden left for them. This can get ugly. But I had not heard about I don't know, maybe I was getting ready for the State of the Union and I wasn't paying attention like I should be. They had a ceasefire going back to October, but now things seem to be back. Residents in Kabul are hearing missile blast, right, explosions across the area. Every side is making a claim, we inflicted the heavy losses. They've always inflicted the heavy losses. Who knows what is actually true? What I know is that if you're Trump, you're watching. What kind of level of spillover does this have? How does this affect others in the regions? What can you live with? What can you try to, what kind of diplomacy can you issue or engage from afar? And are you even considering it? Nope, I can't focus on that. I can only focus on this thing right now. But I did not know that was taking place. And it does add a little bit of a wrinkle. Does it require any of our attention? Which would mean taking an eye off the ball with where you now have 2 aircraft carriers. We have 2 aircraft carriers that are in the area. You've got the Gerald Ford, which is the largest. You've got the Dwight Eisenhower in the Red Sea. You have the USS Abraham Lincoln in the Arabian Sea near Oman. So this is where we're at. These are the ones that we have. We have the Eisenhower in the Red Sea. We've got the Abraham Lincoln in near Oman in the Arabian Sea, and the Gerald Ford in the Eastern Med. I mean, they're ready. They're in a level of position. Some people argued you don't leave them in a level of position like that for 3 weeks. I've had some people say to me, you don't expect anything to take place in Iran until kind of mid-March. These are floating fortresses. Who's going to bother them? I don't see that being an issue. I only question whether or not there's going to be some level of delay because of Afghanistan and Pakistan. If you told me no, I would believe you. I would 10,000% believe you. But I will leave open that there's the possibility. And then this one. You guys know I'm not a death penalty guy. I don't know if you knew that or not. I used to be. I used to be a death penalty guy. And then I watched more and more about how people were given the death penalty. And then we learned that some prosecutor held back information, or someone here misread a test result. And I'm like, I can't do that. I can't be in favor of the death penalty if this human error thing or this purposeful error thing is going to take place. No way. Even though I know someone's guilty, I have put myself in all places where I'm like, yeah, I'm not the guy. And maybe if I'm really pressed on it, I could say, look, if it's truly open and shut, okay. But if it's not open and shut, absolutely not. Can't be around it, can't have it, don't want to be a part of it, no. Then there's this story. This is from military.com. The headline is gross. Ex-U.S. Air Force pilot arrested, claimed to have provided training to China. Okay, all right. I guess we can go back to the death penalty now. Out of my head. Out of my head. Just like you. This is the kind of stuff where it's like, you know what? Death penalty makes perfect sense. He's a 65-year-old arrested in Jeffersonville, Indiana, which is about, would you say, Landon, like 2.5 hours south? Jeffersonville is right across the Ohio River from Louisville. Right? The Ohio River separates Indiana and Kentucky. Criminally charged for the violations of what's known as the Arms Export Control Act. Accusations go back to August of 2023, according to the DOJ. This guy conspired with foreign nationals and U.S. persons to provide combat aircraft training to pilots in the Chinese Air Force. Bring on the death penalty. Bring on the death penalty. Wipe my hands of it. That's all. Forgive me. I did not have this story as part of the show. I came across this story as we're doing the show. And the treasonous stuff, I mean, other people might be more professional than me and be able to handle the conversation better. I just want to know when we get to line up every member of the military with a baseball bat so they can all take a freaking swing. Don't ask me to be nice. I'm not interested in being nice. Every single member of the military, every single Gold Star family that's about to come because we trained commies and the enemy on fighter tactics. I want them to be able to get their swing. I have absolutely no quarter for it at all. And I don't think we're that different on that one. This is really ugly. Really ugly. You've got a statement from the Assistant Attorney General for National Security. The United States Air Force trained Major Brown to be an elite fighter pilot and entrusted him with the defense of our nation. He now stands charged with training Chinese military pilots. So we agree it's treason, right? Like, you guys may have been in the military. Maybe there's a different term for this. How is it not treason? Maybe my problem is I'm too narrowly focused here. I can only think of it as one thing. Maybe it has another name. Nah, it's treason. And I think we should deal with the traitors appropriately. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. All right, welcome back, guys. Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. A lot of texts about tomorrow's event and getting some final things set up and put together, and it's just gonna be fantastic. Just gonna be fantastic. Oh, Zoran Mamdani had a press conference. I don't have to cover the Zoran Mamdani press conference with you, do I? We don't have to do that, do we? No? Yes? No? Maybe? Please say no. No? No, it is. No, it is. Then I think the nays may have it, producer land, and that is accurate. That is accurato. Right there. Get rid of this. Let me see. Let's see. All right. Oh, I've got this. I will do this story right here. Dry erase marker will travel. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. Beautiful. Let's get back to some radio and get stupid. Honestly, I'm rarely a guy who's like, man, it's Friday. I am ready. I have so much to get done for this event, and I'm like there. I'm in it. I want this to happen already. We're already a month past when it should have happened, and so like that's. I am ready for this day to be over so we can get into tomorrow. By the way, I'm on Newsmax tonight. You should check that out. Join me on Newsmax this evening, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I will be with Carl Higbee, Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Good to be here. You saw the video of this trucker. This guy is on the roadway and he's going.
Wheeler going the wrong way down.
The wrong way?
Southbound 61.
He's driving into traffic as opposed to driving with traffic. Turns out
he is on the northbound
this
lane
guy
of 61 going the wrong way.
with a Minnesota commercial driver's license. Turns out this guy is
I'm going southbound
from
on 61.
Somalia.
He's in the northbound lanes on Highway 61.
Turns out that this guy didn't have a proper driver's license, and he failed an English proficiency test. This is the problem. There is no other answer that could be given other than we have to stop this from happening. And I'm taking a look at the legislation that Senator Jim Banks has put forth. You've got commentaries that we heard on this show just this week from Congresswoman Erin Houchin. This has to emanate from the Midwest. This is a Midwest story in that we have to be the ones who drive the legislative changes to demand that people who are in the country illegally and are able to get commercial driver's licenses. I want BMVs, DMVs, we call it the BMV here in Indiana. I want them fined, and I want the directors of those DMVs fined. Personally, I want those state governments fined. Companies that hire people who they know to be in the country illegally, I want them to lose their businesses. The business is just gone. If you knowingly hire an illegal immigrant, you're gone. And if you knowingly hire people who can't read English, you don't get to run a business anymore. You don't get to run a trucking business. You can never get the licensure again. And I'm not a guy who favors licensure. But there is a real issue here about safety and security. Why in the world would any nation think you have to live like this? Allow me to be even more clear. Screw them. I don't care if they like it or not. I don't care if people are angry or not. We're going to protect American citizens. I don't care if the illegal immigrant has a job or not. I don't care if so-and-so keeps their company or not. Not if they're going to endanger people on the road. Screw them. Find another country where you think you can get away with that crap. We don't do it here. I don't care if your kids go hungry. You can't put other kids in danger so you can have yourself a table full of food. No. Find another line of work. Got to keep people safe. This is Tony Katz today. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it at all. So, where are we at? I was actually expecting to hear from Trump today. I don't know why I did. It's not that anything was listed. Excuse me. Except I expected to hear from him. He doesn't talk until later today. He is in Texas talking about energy, where, I mean, we've got a pretty fascinating primary going on in Texas, early primary for that Senate seat. Cornyn is taking on Ken Paxton and Wesley Hunt. And then you've got, what's her name? I couldn't remember Jasmine Crockett's name. Oh my gosh. Against James Tallarico. And even though Stephen Colbert engaged in some shady, racist, sexist trash to try and get Tallarico some love, it seems like Jasmine Crockett is going to pull this out on the Democrat side. And I would say to you, knowing Texas a little bit, paying attention a little bit to the story, that for any amount of squish you see Cornyn beats Jasmine Crockett. And I would put forth to you that I believe Wesley Hunt beats Jasmine Crockett. Ken Paxton. How do I say this properly? Ken Paxton's the Attorney General. Ken Paxton has a real opportunity to lose to Jasmine Crockett. He's the easiest guy to go after. Cornyn, you could argue, is easy to go after because, after all, he's been there the longest and he's got a lot of baggage. Cornyn also knows all these people, all these players, and people are going to say, okay, this is the guy we know, it's fine. The votes are mostly on our side. We're good. Let's do it. So really interesting race to keep an eye on. We've got more show coming up. Keep it here. Smoke them if you got them. I'm going to take the quick break because we're in the radio break. So stay here. Be good. We'll be back in a few. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. Trump spoke to the press. I said just moments ago, I expected Trump to speak today, but he was heading out. He was doing one of those helicopter pressers. He's heading out to Marine One, and he's talking, and he's sometimes hard to hear, but I'm going to see if we can get anything from it right there. And do I want to share the Mamdani presser? Is that necessary? He's hilarious in that he's a commie. But I just don't know if enough people actually care about him. But he did meet with Trump. So, you know what? I'll skip it. But I've got Trump right here. Let me bring this up. Boom, boom. We'll see if we can hear it, right? That's what we'll do. We'll try and figure it out. But I knew he was going to talk. I knew it. Like, it's too weird. The State of the Union's Tuesday. It's Friday. Where's some public speaking? Let's go to work. You know you won the day. Gosh. Coming back to the radio show. That's Diet Coke, by the way. So, no, I'm not having any special drinks. President Trump heading out to Tejas. That's how the kids say Texas. It's the new 6-7. By the way, what happened to 6-7? Does anybody get notice that 6-7 disappeared? It was basically 6-7 has gone the way of the Haktua girl. What happened? It was the biggest story in all of America. I'm assuming it got a podcast and then nothing. These things happen. Tony Katz today. President Trump heading to Texas. He'll be speaking about energy. And this is, of course, where you've got this Texas primary that's going on. And very interesting on the Democratic side and on the Republican side. But President Trump was heading out to Marine One. That's the helicopter. And of course, it always gets a little loud, but I want to see if there's anything here that we can hear people asking questions of the President of the United States.
26 midterm elections. In fact, he says the plan is already underway. How do you respond to Governor Pritzker?
Well, he's got to focus on crime in his state. The crime in his state's doing very badly. If we went and took care of it, we would do just like Washington, D.C. We have no crime. Memphis, it's down 82%. Louisiana, you take a look at Louisiana. What he should really do is focus on crime in his state because there's too much of it.
He's talking about J.B. Pritzker in Illinois, and we mentioned yesterday the deportation numbers out of New Orleans, and over 10,000. It turns out, based on population of 300 some odd thousand, it's like 3% of the population. And you realize that this is happening, and you have not been inundated with videos about violence and people fighting against ICE or anything else. This is still New Orleans. It's still a left-leaning city. It's also a very dangerous city, and it's too bad. But they're having success. I think you got to start telling the New Orleans story. I think you got to even tell better. The president's always good at mentioning what's happening in Memphis. Now show us success in Memphis. Show us people saying it's safer to walk down the streets. Memphis is another one of those cities that people said, it's always going to be violent. That kind of left it be. Memphis has outrageous history. Memphis has outrageous food. Memphis is right there in the water. There's this great opportunity. And yet somehow in the consciousness, whether it's, everything is Nashville all the time or whatever the case may be, it kind of gets left behind. And now you're seeing a success. Show it. Show the after. Show the results. I think that would go a long way. I think the same thing is true in this conversation about New Orleans, where you're not seeing any of the pushback. Maybe the issue is just Minneapolis and some really terrible people. Back to President Trump here in this impromptu meeting with the press before he gets on Marine One.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't.
Not sure what
What
that's about.
will be next if negotiation break down this Iraq?
Well, we haven't made a final decision. We're not exactly happy with the way they negotiated. They cannot have nuclear weapons, and we're not thrilled with the way they're negotiating. So we'll see how it all works.
So that's obviously a question about Iran. Now, we know that Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff went to go speak, I think it was with the Iranian foreign minister or someone else, about, hey, we're trying to help you out here. The president really doesn't want a round two of this, and he's going to win it and you're going to lose it. Here are some things that can be done. Now, I do not have the answers to whether or not this is about really nuclear capability, or rather, this is about the exit package for the Ayatollah. You have to leave now. But this is President Trump, I think, for the first time. And I just heard it like you did just now. This is the first time him getting public about what it is that's happened and where his mindset is. It is clear that the president has a legitimate, I'm going to use the word issue, but it's not the right word, hesitation on the idea of regime change. And there have been plenty of people who said to him, don't go until you have to. Hold off, hold, wait, breathe. And I do think that he has taken some of that advice. I think he's been right in some regards to take that advice. I don't have an answer for what is the plan. Is it regime change? Is it something else? And it is also clear to me that the president is not going to telegraph that. Notice that he's not happy with the pace of the negotiation. He did not, at least there, engage the idea of what the negotiation was. I'm here to tell you I don't know what we're negotiating. Are we negotiating no more nuclear weapons and no more push towards nuclear weapons? Although there was a story that he would allow some limited use of this, that, and the other, as long as it's not a pursuit of the other. Now, if you trust the Iranians or the Ayatollah, you're out of your damn minds. It's like trusting Vladimir Putin. It doesn't work. It can't happen. It makes fools out of everybody. But that could also just be cover as well. Is he going for regime change? Is he not? I don't know. Back to the president in this impromptu meeting with the press. It's a question about Cuba. As we discussed earlier, you have 10 people on a speedboat registered in the United States, registered in Florida, that were shot at. 4 people killed. One of those was an American. The brother of that person who was killed said, my brother was intent on getting to Cuba, a Cuban refugee himself, now an American citizen, and overthrowing the Cuban government. Oh, is that right? 10 guys in a speedboat with a couple of bullets thought they were going to overthrow the Cuban government. The story's insane. Now, this is what the brother is saying. This is what the Cuban government is saying. I'll wait for Marco Rubio to tell me which end is up. I'll wait for the Secretary of State to say, okay, we've done an investigation. Here's what happened. But right now, the story's just nuts. And that's what was asked about Cuba to the president.
The Cuban government is talking with us, and they're in a big deal of trouble, as you know. They have no money. They have no anything right now. But they're talking with us. And maybe we'll have a friendly takeover of Cuba.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Maybe something in my ear, maybe a ringing in the studio. Did he just say friendly takeover of Cuba? Do I have rum? Where's my Baku rum? Oh, by the way, if you have not had the Baku rum 12-year. Oh, so good. So where is? I gotta keep the bar closer. I think friendly takeover of Cuba. Let me tell you, we see communism fall from Cuba. That's an unbelievable move. And it's interesting. Where does this happen from? The taking out of Maduro and changing how oil flows and ending the illegal oil exports and putting an end to the ghost ships. These vessels transporting oil everywhere in these hulls that don't have really any capacity anymore to not just fall apart. It's dangerous stuff. And it's going from Russian vessels to Chinese vessels. And Cuba is now not having the oil. They don't have the gas. They're like, you can't stop here for any type of refueling or anything. We can't do it. We're not getting that Venezuelan oil anymore. Friendly takeover. Oh, I'm not going to lie. I'm here for it. But holy cow, friendly takeover. They just shot at a boat registered to Florida and 2 Americans were killed. What's your response, Mr. President? Maybe we'll have a friendly takeover of Cuba. The guy is like, that is so maniacally focused. You think they got that? Do you think I care about them? No. They don't even have a country. We take the thing in no time. Spectacular.
We could very well end up having a friendly takeover of Cuba.
What about the post?
After many, many years, we've had a lot of years of dealing with Cuba. I've been hearing about Cuba since I'm a little boy, but they're in big trouble, and we could very well, something good, I think very positive for the people that were expelled or worse from Cuba that live here. You know, we have people living here that want to go back to Cuba, and they're very happy with what's going on.
I wonder, and for anybody who is a Cuban national or had a parent or a grandparent who was, did you take a look at Maduro being removed in Venezuela? While we don't have regime change yet in Venezuela, you still have the Maduro regime in charge, and that has to end. Did Cubans look at that and say, my gosh, I hope we're next? I hope Cuba is next. I hope we remove any vestiges of the horrifying Castros, and we have an opportunity to go home. I didn't ask myself that question. I wonder indeed if that's in people's thoughts.
The last news of Epstein files, in particular, between Hillary Clinton. What about that?
I don't know anything about the Epstein files. You know, I've been fully exonerated. Yeah.
Quick Epstein question, quick Epstein answer. I've been fully exonerated. Here's what we know. He's the one who said, I don't know about this guy, Jeffrey Epstein, but I'm throwing him out of my club because I think he's a weirdo. They absolutely knew each other. They were absolutely in the same room together. They absolutely had a million conversations. Of Ghislaine Maxwell, referred to her as evil, and spoke to local authorities back in 2006 saying, you got to keep an eye on these people. These people are awful. And the allegation against him about sexual abuse of a 14-year-old girl. The source is bunk. The source is known to be a fraud. There is zero corroboration to the story. Zero corroboration to the story. The people who are pushing that, they're not interested in actually children being protected and victims being protected and perpetrators brought to justice. They're only interested in how can we hurt Trump. They don't care about anything else. They don't give a damn about anything else. And that's what makes them so ugly and duplicitous. Back to President Trump.
For Iran, is there a risk that strikes could turn into a long, drawn-out conflict in the Middle East?
I guess you could say there's always a risk. You know, when there's war, there's a risk in anything, both good and bad. We've had tremendous luck with myself, Soleimani, al-Baghdadi. Everything's worked out, and then we do the Midnight Hammer and so many others. Everything's worked out, and we want to keep it that way. But we're going to see. Look, it'd be wonderful if they negotiate really in good conscience, good faith and conscience. But they They are not getting there. So far, Peter, they're not getting there.
And has your team told you that if you use the military now, that there will be regime change right away?
No, nobody's told me that.
So Peter Ducey asked the question, has anybody told you that if you engage regime change, you use the military now, there'll be regime change right away? And President Trump was very quick. No one has made that commentary to me at all, which would lead one to believe that speed is not necessarily of the essence here. It's not that you have to strike quickly. It's that if you're going to strike, you have to strike properly.
You don't know. I mean, nobody knows. There might be and there might not be. It'd be nice if we could do it without, but sometimes you have to do it with. When you look at we have the greatest military anywhere in the world. There's nothing close. I'd love not to use it, but sometimes you have to.
I don't think there is any question. Maybe you have one. I don't think there's any question that the military is going to get used regarding Iran. But that response was, I think, very quick and very honest, that he's saying that there is no advice, there is no thought to the idea that one has to strike quickly. Now, does that mean that we won't see some movement this weekend? No, not necessarily. We might very well see something this weekend. But I thought this was an interesting little bit of back and forth with the president, with the press, as he's heading out to Texas. More is coming up. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. I'm going to play a little bit more of this, so I just want to hear if I can hear the rest of what he's talking about.
Doing very badly. They're failing. Cuba right now is, to put it mildly, a failing nation. And I've been hearing about Cuba. I said before, since I'm a little boy, I've been hearing about Cuba, and everybody wanted to change. And I can see that happening. Marco Rubio is dealing on it, and at a very high level. And, they have no money, they have no oil, they have no food. And it's really right now a nation in deep trouble, and they want our help.
See what else?
I'd like to see the war end. And I would like to see it end. Sir, are you 25,000 people died last month.
Talking about Ukraine right now.
To have that war is just absolutely, it's a shame.
Sir, are you considering a national emergency? Around the midterm election? There's been reporting that there's an proposed executive order about this. Are you looking at that? Are you considering that?
I can't hear this part of it, so I'm not sure. There's so much of this you can do
Before you realize that he's out of range. He's out of range, and you're not going to get the answers. You're not going to get to be a part of the thing. So let us head back to here. Yeah, I don't want. Okay. I will tell you that, I walk into the show pretty prepared. But there are some times where just things are happening, and it's like I so enjoy being able to do the commentary on the fly. Like, we all experience it together. Because some of these people are just, some of the stuff is just embarrassing already. Just wholly embarrassing. Hold on 1 second. Coming back. Nose running. Stinks. Make it stop. Congressman Ted Lieu, who was not at the State of the Union, I didn't see him there. He has real opposition to the SAVE Act. That's right. A Democrat opposed to showing an ID when you vote. Tony Katz today. I know, it's shocking. And Ted Lieu is on MS Now, where, of course, it's very important to that liberals show up on a network that no one's watching, but they can feel as a safe space. And he wants you to know how hard it is to prove who you are.
Administration calls it the Save America Act, which would mandate strict voter ID requirements. That's already passed the House, and the majority leader, John Thune, says he will call it for a Senate vote next week. So what does that leave Democrats in terms of options on that?
I'm not opposed to having photo ID for elections. I'm opposed to having stupid requirements for photo ID. So under the Extreme Save Act, basically your driver's license doesn't count.
Hold on a second. Stop. Did he just say the Extreme Save Act? Are we now doing this like we're Hakeem Jeffries, extreme MAGA Republicans? I can't do a good Hakeem Jeffries impression because mostly I can't sound that much like a robot. The Extreme MAGA Save Act, whatever. Okay. Why you can't use your driver's license? This is his argument.
You have to prove U.S. citizenship. You know how hard that is for a number of Americans? If you don't have a passport, pretty hard to prove that unless you can somehow find your birth certificate.
The administration.
Can I ask why it is that Democrats are so flummoxed about being able to find their birth certificate? Why is this so hard for them? This argument is happening all over the place. You expect people to find their birth certificates? What, are you out of your mind? What? Why is this the thing that flummoxes them? I didn't ask them to repair a carburetor on a 73 Chevy, which, for the record, I could not do. It's a birth certificate. You don't know how to order a birth certificate? Hold on. I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm going to show you how to get your birth certificate right now, Congressman Ted Lieu. I am going to make this easy for you. Super, super easy. Hold on a second. No, not that, Tony. Here, something everybody can do. It's something everybody knows how to do. This is ChatGPT. Hey, ChatGPT, how you doing today? I hope you're having a good one. Listen, I'm trying to figure out how I get my birth certificate. I live in Indiana, but I was born in Brooklyn, New York. How do I make this happen? Let's see. Oh, look at this. You absolutely can get your birth certificate even if you live in Indiana. Your vital records were filed by the city where you were born. And oh, look, a step-by-step guide to getting your birth certificate. We're done. Anybody can get their birth certificate. If you can look up, if you could search for anything you want, if you can ask ChatGPT for anything, now you can ask for this. Oh look, there's an authorized vendor. There's a website you can go to. You pay a certificate fee plus a processing fee, and then it's done. But if Congress wants to pass legislation that everybody is entitled to one copy of their birth certificate every year, and the federal government pays for it, can I just say for the record, I would back that legislation? Absolutely. I mean, we'll cut a program that we don't need, like Planned Parenthood. We don't have to give them any money, but everyone can get their birth certificate. And then if we cut Planned Parenthood, we'll actually have more birth certificates to give out. It's a win-win. Come on, Ted, say yes. I'm Tony Katz. Tell me that's not genius. Good Lord. So easy to do. Yeah, seriously, if you, I had not considered, I had not talked about it. If you told me we're going to pass legislation in the House, in the Senate, signed by the president, pass legislation that said every American is entitled to a free copy of their birth certificate every year, I would do it. But if you told me that at the census, everybody can get a free copy of their birth certificate, I'd be like, okay, great. We get a piece of cake. Well, we're printing paper. We can afford paper. We can do this. I'm all in. Now we solve the problem. We solve the problem. What's the issue? These people are liars and they are frauds. Oh, I'd be fine with an ID. You mean an ID like an ID card or something that somebody made on their home computer? You don't want to actually have any teeth to the ID. We see you, Ted Lieu, and we are unimpressed. Very much so unimpressed. Market is down 640. I'm sorry, 650 right now. NASDAQ is down 285. By the way, everybody grabbed that story from the presser. Trump saying, he'd love not to attack Iran, but sometimes you have to. Now, I haven't seen enough people say, did he just say a friendly takeover of Cuba? To me, that's the best. All right. Let me see here. Oh, except for C-SPAN. C-SPAN now has a headline. President Trump suggests possible friendly takeover of Cuba. I'm telling you, Cuba falls. I don't know if I could give enough words and the proper words to how people throughout Miami and Broward County would feel. I don't think there's a way to explain what it would be like in Hialeah. Oh, Claudia, Miami would shut down for a week. Absolutely. I actually can't think of anything that would come close to that level of celebration. Actual crying in the streets. Like beyond sobbing. Absolutely. The thought of it gives you goosebumps. It'd be amazing to see, amazing to witness. By the way, Cubans being able to return to Cuba and rebuilding Cuba, less than 10 years. Less than 10 years to be a place that everybody wants to be. That's my take. Not even close to a question. Spectacular. It would be beyond belief. You will be fighting to visit Cuba in less than 10 years if Cubans can actually take the country back. Spectacular. Let's go do some radio. Three more things to get to. Tony Katz today. Guys, good to be here. Good to be with you. Don't forget to head on over to the YouTubes where we live stream and be a part of it. Just look for Tony Katz and subscribe because that's what all the cool kids do. And they are. They are indeed the very, very coolest of kids. So you want to head over there and be a part of it and subscribe and see all the videos and everything else. I see where we're at. I have a lot of work to do, don't I? I have some updating to do, but everything is going really well. And I appreciate you guys being a part of what is happening over there. So here is my three more things. We start in Kansas. And in Kansas, their legislature has overridden the leftist governor, and they have invalidated transgender driver's licenses and birth certificates. 1,700 individuals this affects. They have to get new standard driver's licenses at a cost of $26. And the state's vehicle division informed residents that no grace period is going to be offered for those who need to update their IDs. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with giving people a grace period to do anything with a government form. You allowed this thing, now you're not going to allow this thing. I don't have any problem if you had given a bit of time for that to happen. But it is the very least of my concerns on this topic. What is important here is that we put an end to the idea that we are going to allow lying and that government should participate in the lies. Men are not women, women are not men. And you are not assigned a sex or gender at birth. You are what you are, what you are. And that the Democratic governor, Laura Kelly, engaged a veto, I'm glad that it was overridden. She calls it a poorly drafted bill with significant far-reaching consequences. She wrote or stated, it is nothing short of ridiculous that the legislature is forcing the entire state, every city and town, every school district, every public university to spend taxpayer money on a manufactured problem. Kansans elected them to focus on education, job creation, housing, and grocery costs. Well, in order to do all of that, you have to start by not lying. And lying is saying that men are women and women are men, or men could be women or women could be men. It's a lie, and government should not endorse lying. So it is extremely important, regardless of the cost, that this get handled. I do not listen to Democrats tell me about what's too expensive. Again, the money I can save by never giving a dime to Planned Parenthood, just like we don't give any money to public broadcasting. These are good ways to not spend money, and now we can afford to do things like not lying to the American people. Complain, moan, kvetch all you want. Entering a multi-occupancy space now designated for the opposite sex constitutes a violation, meaning can't be a man and utilize the women's room and claim that you're a woman. That's not going to work. It's not going to work. When I talk about these subjects, I usually talk about children, and the abuse of children is flat out wrong. And anybody abusing children by claiming they could be a different gender, working to confuse children, engaging in mutilation of children or puberty blockers, these are child abusers and they need to be stopped. They are child abusers and they need to be stopped. Adults can make all sorts of decisions for themselves. I just don't want to be told I have to buy into it. And lying on a birth certificate and lying on a driver's license is saying that the state is going to buy into it, and they shouldn't. I don't want that. I won't be told I have to use certain pronouns. Never. You cannot compel me to speech, which is exactly what it is that progressives want in this case. I should be compelled to levels of speech. No, thank you. I'll pass. Then there is the AI story. How Anthropic, which is Claude, and full disclosure, I have no financial connection to Anthropic or Claude. I do have Claude Pro. I pay for that service. The Pentagon came to them. And the Pentagon said, we want to use the tools. They wanted unrestricted use of their technology. And basically, they wanted to utilize the tools for, well, maybe some nefarious purposes that could be utilized against U.S. citizens, specifically the idea of mass surveillance. So what Anthropic has said is that they cannot agree to the Pentagon's demand to use its tool for surveillance. And what the Department of War has said is that, hey, we're not going to do business with you if you don't pull back restrictions placed on the use of the tool. And the company's like, yeah, we can't do that. And you think that this is a big win, and it's about safety and security. And please, I have no issue with Dario Amodei. I've never met the man. I don't have any issue with him. He is the CEO. Yeah, the CEO of Anthropic. The Department of War is saying that Dario Amodei is not telling the story properly about this relationship that Anthropic has with the U.S. military, or what the real desire is. Again, I do not know the man, Dario Amodei. I know that all of these AI tools can be manipulated, which brings us to a story about this exact company and the country of Mexico. Bloomberg has the story. That story is behind a paywall. Stephen Green, who's known as the vodka pundit, longtime friend, has the story over at PJ Media. And the story goes that a hacker, a single lone hacker, if you want to understand the concerns people have about AI, which are real concerns in many, many cases, a lone hacker went to Claude, which is the AI system owned by this group Anthropic, and said to Claude, hey, I want you to act as an elite hacker, and wrote all the prompts in Spanish. Find vulnerabilities in government networks. And when you find the vulnerabilities, I want you to write computer scripts to exploit them and determine ways to automate data theft. Now, according to the reporting, Claude's response was, yeah, I can't do that. I have I have built-in safeguards that would not allow me to do such a thing. The hacker, instead of giving up, simply kept asking the same question, the same type of prompt in different ways. A variation here, a variation there, a little more direct, a little more soft. The same thing. I want you to think like a hacker. I want you to look at the vulnerabilities in the Mexican government system of this, that, and the other. I want you to develop vulnerability, to find these vulnerabilities. I want you to develop programs and scripts that will be able to infiltrate and exploit these vulnerabilities. And then I want you to automate the data capture in all of these places. All of these places. And what did the AI do? The AI basically relented, as Engadget reported it. There was no hack of the system Claude to turn it into a hacker. Rather, it was the relentless questioning and slight variations of the same question, the same prompt, the same setup that led Claude to find a way to do this. Claude produced thousands of detailed reports that included ready-to-execute plans, telling whoever this person was exactly which internal targets to attack next and what credentials to use. What happened next? Well, to understand what happened next, you have to go to the story that the attacker had stolen 150 gigabytes of sensitive data, including 195 million taxpayer records, voter registration files, government employee credentials, and civil registry data. One guy utilizing one AI that could cost upwards of $20 a month by asking the same question over and over again, but following it up with, please. That was the great hack. That's how they did it. And I'm telling you, it gets harder and harder to sleep at night. That's crazy. That is absolutely insane. The site Gambit, which is an Israeli cybersecurity startup, Gambit Security, they claim that, quote, in total, Claude produced thousands of detailed reports, including ready-to-execute plans. And what Anthropic says is the company feeds examples of malicious activity back into Claude to learn from it. And one of its latest AI models, Claude Opus 4.6, includes probes that could disrupt misuse. Yeah, that's what they've been saying for a while. That what just happened can't happen. Except it can happen. And it did happen. And it's going to happen again. And it's happening right now as we speak. And it's going to happen tonight as you have dinner. It will happen later tonight as you put your head to the pillow. It will happen tomorrow as you watch golf or you talk to your children. It's going to happen on Sunday when you're in church. It will happen as you drive to work. It will happen when you're in the bathroom. This is the way it is. So we got that going for us. I'm Tony Katz. This right here is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz Today. Don't forget, I am on Newsmax this evening. 6:30 is when I am on. So be sure to check that out. And of course, I only hope you will be there tomorrow. Trump, 1 year and 1 month later, a red tie gala, the bourbon, the food. The laughs, the good time. It's going to be so fantastic. Tickets.tonykatz.com. I don't know what it is with the last minute ticket buyers, but we have seen some very cool flurry of activity and thrilled about it. So I'm like, just leave it up, because this was supposed to be down a few days ago, and I said, leave it up. I'm like, yeah, but if we leave it up and then guest list, I'm like, work overtime. What do you want from me? Don't be silly. Don't say no. You say, come and join us. Come have the party. Of course you do. Tickets.tonykatz.com. It's going to be amazing. Amazing. Tickets.tonykatz.com. Trump 1 year and 1 month later. It's going to be outstanding. All right. All right, what else do we got? What else do I know? Coming back, Phantasmal. I love it. Absolutely love it. We're getting to this whole Paramount Netflix deal. Terry's going to be there. Excellent. You know, Beth is having a pre-party, right? Did you know that, producer Landon? Beth's having a pre-party. Oh yeah, I wasn't invited. She put out this message that I was invited, but I don't believe her. Oh no, the calligraphy invite? No, I never got that. Never once. I know. Struggle's real. Netflix said, nah. We wanted to buy Warner. We put in the money to buy Warner. We think we offered a pretty good deal for Warner. Then Warner said, you know what? This Paramount deal is a superior deal. We'll take the Paramount deal unless you want to come back at Netflix. And Netflix is like, no thanks. Really? No thanks. Well, okay then. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. So Netflix was trying to buy Warner and HBO and that whole library. They put in a deal. They put in the offer. Paramount, which is owned by David Ellison, the son of Larry Ellison of Oracle, said, we'll offer more. Warner said, well, hey, Netflix, can you match this? And Netflix said, it's not worth it. And we think the federal government's going to give us a problem if we buy it. So, yeah, it'd be nice to have. Wasn't must have at any price. I believe that's the actual quote from Ted Sarandos. And so, yeah, we're not going to be a part of it. We're not going to do this. This has led to an entire freaking out over at CNN, which is owned by Warner.
So we have some breaking news in our national lead that affects everybody I'm looking at right now in the studio. Moments ago, Netflix said it is declining to raise its offer for the purchase of Warner Brothers Studios and HBO, following the Warner Brothers Discovery Board's determination that Paramount, which is not just going for Warner Brothers Studios and HBO, but also the whole enchilada, including us here at CNN, Paramount has submitted a superior offer, according to Warner Brothers Discovery's board. As I've noted, Warner Brothers Discovery is the parent company of CNN. So let's get right to CNN Chief Media Analyst Brian Stelter. So let's start with the question, why did Netflix walk away? Ted Sarandos and others in Netflix made it very clear they really wanted Warner Brothers Studios and they really wanted HBO.
Well, first, anytime you go to Brian Stelter, you remind me that we should never go to Brian Stelter. Never go full Brian Stelter. As the kids on the street say, never go full potato. Why would CNN be so bothered by this? CNN would be so bothered by this because Paramount, which is CBS, put Barry Weiss in charge. Now immediately you're like, oh, that's right. Jake Tapper might lose his very cushy job, his multi-million-dollar job. You know, they've already said to the CNN talent, blah, 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 you may write books, but this doesn't mean you get to just publicize your book all during the show, right? The show is not your publicity thing. It's a show. It's content. We have to, an audience that we need to get information to and entertain. They're like, no, it's for me to sell my books and my books alone. Changes at CNN, I'm here for it. And if David Ellison is looking for some new hosts, I never wanted to run a media company. I just want to be able to ask good questions and tell good stories. So I'm in. This is Tony Katz today. The more upset Jake Tapper is, the better off we all are. Absolutely. Guys, I appreciate you like you wouldn't believe. Sorry, I just put in the wrong website. What in the world is going on here? I missed the W. WIBC.com. The radio show continues there. So you want to be a part of that. I've got much more to get to with Dr. Matt Will, the economist. I'm going to speak to him about these inflation numbers that everybody's getting wrong. This report's not great. The market is showing that, but it's not the end of the universe. Everybody stop being weird. And then I want to see you tomorrow. I only hope I do. You can get your last second tickets right now. Tickets.tonykatz.com. Trump 1 year and 1 month later. How we win the midterms. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be so good. Cannot wait to see you there. Come join me. It's going to be a great show. Tickets.tonykatz.com. Get your tickets right now and be there tomorrow night. Yeah, put on a red tie, maybe a tux, maybe just a nice suit. You know what? Just pants. Just pants. Something nice. Ladies, you know what to do. I don't need to tell you. Here, you got this set. So, Trump 1 year and 1 month later, the bourbon, the food, the desserts, everyone's going to have a cigar. It's going to be a little cold, so I'm not organizing a cigar smoke, but you can have the cigar later. And I cannot wait to see you there. Can't wait. Tickets.tonykatz.com. Get the tickets. Get the tickets right now. Don't miss the party. You can actually get them. They're there. They are there. You can get them right now. Make that happen. I appreciate you guys. Can't thank you enough for being here. I am back on Monday. I'll see a whole bunch of you tomorrow. Really looking forward to it. The radio show continues at WIBC.com. I'll catch you then, guys. Take care.